We need to call the Harrison Planning Commission to order. There is no public hearing, so James, could you give us a roll call, please?
Pat Brown,
Here.
Bob Dodson,
Here.
Floyd Baltimore,
Here.
Jim Hart,
Here.
Butch May, Joel Williams,
Here.
and Drew Vining.
Here.
You have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Next item is the approval of the minutes from our September 26th commission meeting. Does anybody have any comments, questions, or corrections that need to be made?
Move to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item we have is the old business to request to resubmit a previously denied zoning request from owner Danny Hall from an R1 to an R3. Wade, would you like to speak first, or would you like to have Joseph? Is the representative online? And I believe is Mr. Ardorful.
This is Joseph Anderful.
Yes, would you like to speak in regards to this zoning request?
Yes, I would like to, and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to you a little about this rezoning. I would request if it's possible for me to share a screen, a presentation, and I already sent this to the city clerk as well. If it can be shown on the screen, or if I can present from my end.
Can you share the screen?
Yes.
I believe you have the screen now.
Okay, I might need help going down. So once again, thank you for allowing me to be joining you here today. I wish I had been there in person. I was in London, came back 2 days ago. I'm just too exhausted to fly again. So I requested to do this by Zoom, and Wayne has made this possible. I would like to just introduce myself a little bit. Would you please go to the next slide for me? So my name is Joseph Anderful. I have a bachelor's and master's in computer information science. I was a software developer for 15 years. Currently, I'm a real estate investor. I invest in multiple states, and I'm also a licensed real estate agent in 3 different states: Utah, Florida, and Missouri. Currently, I'm a husband and a father of 5 kids. I love what I do when it comes to real estate, being able to help get homes for people who really need them the most. Next slide, please. So here I am today. We had requested for an R4 from a current zoning of an R1, and we realized that might have been a little bit too big, and also I personally didn't have a lot of details that accompanied that meeting, which got this denied. And so today I'm coming and asking for something different. I know that the R1, the dwelling that is allowed is single family homes. If you can go to the next slide for me, please. And so single family, what is allowed as of today, based on my investment strategy, single family home wouldn't work. And I also understand the need of housing in the community. So I've come to request for an R3. Would you please go to the next slide for me? So I'm proposing for the commission to reconsider the rezoning request from 2 months ago from an R4 to an R3. Next slide, please. Now, I know that there were a lot of confusion about what could potentially be built on this lot if the rezoning was allowed. Today, I'm here to present to you that I plan to build townhomes, just row homes. There won't be any story buildings nor skyscrapers. There won't be any nursing home or anything. What myself would like to do is to build townhomes. And I will show you here in the next slide what kind of unit that I'm planning on building on this. So I plan to have combination of 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and a 4-bedroom unit, which is what I think will benefit my investment strategy, but at the same time also based on my communication with people on the ground in the community that these are the type of unit that people need the most in the community. Next slide, please. Now, today, I just wanted to present just a rough rendering of the proposed unit, just so you know that if this gets approved, it's not going to be anything different than just building townhomes. And I'm sure you are familiar with townhomes, but I just wanted to put this picture out there to show you what I intend to do. And obviously, it's going to be based on the committee to approve everything that I do. And I would like to talk about why I decided to come into Harrison. I lived in Utah, I've lived in Missouri, and I now live in Florida. And the question that, as I discussed with other investors, is why are you going into Harrison to build units, to build dwelling units when you could have done this in other places? Last year, I had an opportunity to connect with few people from Harrison. And as an investor, I understood a very critical need for housing in that community. And so I decided to do a little bit of a survey, some homework myself, and I realized that there is a good potential to really help the community at the same time. So continue to grow my investment portfolio. I've got just a couple of community benefit that I'm sure you're already aware of that I would like to share with you why I really want to come into this community and build dwelling unit for the community. Number one, I know that, when I start this project in the community, I would like to hire local expert. I've already had communication with some of them, engineers, plumbers, like I've talked to quite a few people. So I know that the community, some of the community members will benefit from being hired to work on this project. The next one is the economic growth. As new residential development coming into the area, it's going to attract, in my opinion, it's going to attract businesses. And I have seen this in big cities like Salt Lake City, where I lived for several years, how just dwelling units bring new development, new economic growth into the community. And I thought that the community could benefit from that as well. Potential increase in tax revenue. Obviously, if this unit were to be built, yes, we will be paying taxes to the community because we have houses that are in the community. So potential increase in tax revenue. The other one is infrastructure development. Usually when you see new development going on, it kind of clicks in other investors' brain to start coming in to develop new infrastructure, or even an existing infrastructure being developed or amended to help with the community. Next slide, please. Community revitalization, new homes bring new hopes. It's just a good thing to have new homes, which most people love new homes. You're moving into a new home, you're paying the same rent like an old home, but you are feeling like, yes, you're living a good life. In my investment career, if I cannot live in a unit, I don't rent it to someone. So I make sure that all my rentals are in top shape, which benefit the people in the community. The next one is enhance diversity and community involvement. I'm hoping that this will bring more people into the community, into Harrison. People gonna hear about development going on. I was on the ground about 2 months ago. I saw the development going on, and I have no doubt that's already bringing more people. But I have no doubt that this additional dwellings will bring more people because people will also have a place to stay when they come to town. And then the last one is the support for local schools, family moving into the area. They can boost enrollment in schools because they can find a place to stay. As an investor and a landlord, I know how important that is to families, especially between the period April and end of July every year. I see how families move around because they're looking for a place to stay where their kids can go to a certain school district. And I'm hoping that if this would be reconsidered, that this can also help with the school district enrollment in general. Next slide, please. Overall, I just want to point out that the benefit of building a residential unit can help create a more thriving and resilient community in Harrison while addressing the housing demand and also enhancing the quality of life for residents. Part of my homework did tell me that, people on standby looking for a place to rent, or they are renting places that technically have maybe issues that they probably shouldn't be rented. And I guarantee that we'll provide housing unit that would enhance the quality of life for everybody who will be fortunate enough to rent from us. The last slide is just I wanted to put out my contact information just so you have it. If anybody needs to ask me any question or reach out to me after this is over, this is my contact info. You are welcome to call, text, email me at any time. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share this with you briefly. And I know you may have some questions for me, so I'm now ready for any questions that you may have.
Commissioners have any questions to the applicant? I guess one question I have, do you have what is your proposed layout is going to be?
I have a preliminary proposed layout. I had it for a bigger unit, which was the R4, and now we dial it to R3. So I have something in the pipeline. I just don't have it finished yet.
Is it my understanding that the 3.91 acres would be basically behind the 1 acre tract that Danny Hall would maintain and retrieve or keep in possession of?
That
And
is
that
correct.
Smith would not go through?
That is correct.
No. Questions? Wade?
So in the notes that I did hand out, it does have comparison to R4 and R3. The primary differences, R4 is at 24 dwellings per acre. The R3 cuts that in half down to 12. There's a few nuanced uses, differences in what uses will be allowed. As far as your primary residential uses, the R3 still permits multifamily, single family, the townhouse and row house, which is what he's shown us, as well as a duplex. I think. And then as far as some of the more institutional type residential, both zones would permit an assisted living facility. I I know that's not what he's proposing, but again, when we're talking about zoning, we've got to talk about all permitted uses.
Yeah, I mean, if it's permitted, it's permitted.
Residential facility rehab would be permitted in an R4 as a, use by right. Residential facility rehab would be a conditional use permit. In an R3, nursing homes would not be permitted in either one of those districts. That's a kind of a brief summary of your residential type uses that would be allowed there. Just a quick reminder, kind of the portions of the code that we're dealing with right now, as far as the zoning code. This, as we've stated, this is not an application to rezone. This is following up after a denial, which under 301.8.B.5, paragraph D. As the zoning code says, an application cannot be resubmitted for a period of 1 year, except on showing that a substantial change in conditions found to be valid by the planning commission. And then, I guess the final thing I do want to point out is this does require a supermajority, or not supermajority, but a majority of the entire commission. So it is a minimum of 4 votes. If we have almost everybody, so it doesn't really come into play.
Yeah, it doesn't come into play.
Will be a majority of everything in the form that's here today. Other than that, you have to answer the question.
I do have a question. I just want to make sure I understand the access, the ingress and egress would not be from the street that runs from the 4-lane up the hill beside the property.
Ramadi
Is that
Hill.
correct?
We can't really answer exactly the access until we see the development plan.
But-
Because I've got to coordinate with fire department. They may not allow just one access.
Well, I just wondered if they were landlocked to the street that goes to the subdivision,
Which is Smith.
Smith,
They have access to both Smith and Spruce.
both Smith and Spruce. Okay, so
No, they don't.
There's no access to Smith.
Smith dead ends to the property.
But that
No,
property,
that's dead end.
Floyd, that's not Smith. I spoke on.
I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. It's Floyd.
They have access to Floyd and Spruce.
okay.
Smith is,
That's right. I'm sorry. That was my bad.
So the question is there a substantial difference enough between 3 and 4 for us to have to consider it now?
I can't make that decision, but
But we have to.
you do have to. I will point out, R3 was discussed. It was discussed much, so that's why we're having another meeting here, but there has been discussion. And as I said, the primary difference is the density as far as between R4 and R3 is half of what the R4 would be. And then there were some of those differences in the permitted uses, but other than that, setbacks don't change, setbacks don't change between the uses. The basic,
I mean, nothing.
requirements of the subdivision code is independent of what we're talking about.
I mean, this chart shows you basically the only difference is the density. In my book. I really wish we had a site development plan to really have a
Okay.
better idea.
Yeah,
But we don't, so. Any additional questions, comments, concerns? To either the applicant or to Wade? Would somebody like to make a motion? No, sorry. It's not a public hearing. Did you make a motion?
Yeah.
What is your motion?
You know, looking at this list,
I'm sorry.
you're at about 86% the same. Yeah, on all these items.
Mhm.
I don't have enough information to.
I hate for this man to waste a lot more of his time on this project because I'll just tell you, I will never vote for R3, not today, not 1 year from now, not. So
So was your motion to deny?
well, are we? I mean, that's not the issue today, is it?
Well, the issue is to deny, allow or deny him to resubmit an application for an R3. And if we approve it, it'd have to go all the way through the public hearing, the entire process. If we don't feel that there's a substantial change, then we would vote no as it allowing him to resubmit. I mean,
Yeah, the intent of this section of the code is to prevent somebody from wearing the planning commission out with
time
repeated
after time.
requests. But it does have the mechanism so where the commission, in their opinions, the majority of the commission, where the change is substantial enough that they would be willing to rehear it. You know, it gives a little bit of flexibility, but the overall intent is to keep, developers from wearing out the commission on previously passed.
And I move to deny.
We have a motion to deny the request. Do we have any comments? Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The only other business that we have is that we have a November 26th planning commission, which is a couple of days before, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So do we want to, and I do believe we may have something on
I
that.
am anticipating a commercial development, our LSD submittal,
So
not guaranteed, but.
is everybody going to be in town by any chance?
Yeah,
I will be. So if that works for you, that's fine with us.
And then we can talk next month, but just put it on your radar, Christmas will be a pretty rough conflict.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, it will be.
So we'll want to look, and I'll have a better idea then whether I should have something in December or not.
Good. There's no other business. I will request for an adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all.